And now, next up, joining us today is Nick GC Tan, CEO of Oceanus Media Global, one of Singapore's leading creative media tech companies shaping the future of storytelling in Southeast Asia. Nick is a pioneer in virtual production, immersive media, and generative AI workflow innovation, driving the adoption of advanced creative technologies across film, education, and digital content. He works closely with government agencies, universities, and regional studios to build Singapore's next generation media ecosystem, one that blends creativity, technology, and talent development. Today, he brings his perspective on how Singapore can lead the region in AI-enabled media, future-ready talent pipelines, and global co-production. Nick, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Yiting. Let me just do a quick sharing on my screen. Okay, so today I'm going to share a little bit about the media industry and the creative tech industry as an industry insights. And I think this is something that is really exciting. I think we are all surrounded by, media tech, or rather media IP and content. And so therefore, I just want to share some statistics before I start. Part of the future media trends today started with good IPs, great IPs that we all believe and live with. Example, Lion King, as you can see, and they are the first to do a media tech integration into a existing IP that has lived with us for decades. Next is, of course, Star Wars. It's one of the only, global franchise IP that has actually transcend through generations that we all live with. And these are all projects and IPs that created through media tech. I just want to highlight with the media tech landscape comes global content boom. And we are on a trend of 20% growth year on year, every year for the next 10 years. And the rise of streaming means that in Southeast Asian market and Singapore, being one of the highest consuming for this kind of video streaming platforms, is actually a growing trend as well. We're looking at a very big number. And Southeast Asia alone already is the fourth largest economy. From our perspective, this is very exciting. And since today I'm talking about how Singapore could be using, leveraging on immersive media and virtual production media tech to, create IPs for the future, this is something that we are highlighting on today. And I just want to highlight a little bit on some background. What is this whole future of content like? So number one is this. As you can see on my screen, this is virtual production. This is shot in a studio like mine. And location is one of the key problems. With this is a window to other worlds that you cannot do. So you can tell stories that is more compelling into a narrative that you don't actually exist. At the same time, immersive right now is the new experience. Like everyone here, I believe and assume that you have been to one of these exhibitions that is either done by my friends or, team or, partners. And right now, basically, if there's no immersiveness in that sense, you don't get yourself immersed into that story and IP, you can't actually experience that. So it is the new experience. Next, again, MediaTek has brought people of the past or people of the future into the world. This example of this is ABBA. The ABBA concert using broadcast augmented reality has become a $150 million US franchise. Likewise for Halo, those gamers out there, you guys know what his Halo is brought into 5 countries and this became a sensation. Now, what are some of the virtual productions? This is one of them. In-camera visual effects. Just for the layman, it's just a tool, right? To create environments and world. The other one is, of course, game AR, live AR. Like a lot of game launchers, even some of the projects that we are involved on, all uses this. And of course, the use of real-time AI for broadcast and also for film, and then transform into a product, right? These are all tools that it is. So how can OMG basically, today is a story of how can OMG be a company or a Singapore company that actually leverages on media tech to bring new IPs and new stories across to the new generation. And we are doing this through the use of various type of immersive media, and OMG is actually situated in Southeast Asia. We have 2 offices in Malaysia and Indonesia and Cambodia. And we have been scaling IPs as well as AI generated content using virtual production. The whole intention, again, is to tell stories. And just some things that we have done. For example, again, I want you guys to see this from a lens that is not about what we have done. It's about how, again, Singapore as a small nation can tell good stories, can bring great experiences to the rest of the world. So like Olympic esports, where we introduce the use of hologram in a event live as well as game content, National Day using AR and RazorCon. These are all global showcase and platforms, and I think the team from all this experience has created about 200 over assets, 70 plus content over the last 4 years, right? And we do work closely with the government and we hope to work with different government agencies to push this. We have studios right now that we produce content and original IP. And I think this is really important. And how we could leverage on the various international network is actually very important. Like, for example, this many of you might not know, across the border from Singapore, this is Iskandar Malaysia Studio. It's the largest film studio in Southeast Asia. It's owned by Khazanah, which is the sovereign fund of Malaysia, and we partner with them to do the largest virtual production studio in Southeast Asia. Yeah. And since then, again, we look for co-production partners across the region to create film IPs, tell stories from local culture. We just finished a Indonesian film, a co-production for a horror film, and it's going to be exciting. It will be out in the theaters next year. And again, this is a way that Singapore companies and professionals can tell good stories or uses media tech to position themselves. So this is some other press release. So how can Singapore use media IP as a soft power or soft culture influence? I think this is really important because this is where Singapore heads towards. While we all know that the government is looking at making Singapore a economic powerhouse, I think media and soft power is really a very important component. And I just want to touch on four components. Number one, through immersive media activation. Number two, through broadcast solution and films. Number three, through Gen AI solutions. Number four, through media tech training. And from media from immersive media IP and activations, projects like this kind where you get involved in, you push your name from a country standpoint, not a company standpoint, to the world. This not just create jobs, but it also creates excitement across the region. Like this game show that we conceptualized with Channel News Asia is about sustainability, won Best Game Show in the Asian Creative Awards. And of course, with Universal Studio for the theme parks, where you create experiences that you think only you could, consume this across, in US or other part of the world, but you can actually see this in Singapore or Olympic esports, where we did something that has not been done before at a global stage. At the same time, locally, we can look into like National Day Parade, the countdown, the Chinese New Year. Again, these are ways that Singapore creative industries can tell good stories. And I think creative industries is a backbone in many of the industries. Without IP stories and creatives, there is actually very hard for many industries to thrive. And broadcast IP or virtual production per se are like things like this drama series, which we also won the Asia Pacific Broadcast Award for best virtual production and other form of content. Like you saw the grandma at the corner, we filmed with the How to Make Millions of Grandma to create a new IP, a new film that could be done across the region again. So again, with the use of different technology, that would be great. And again, AI has come a long way. I think this is an example of a product that uses Gen AI to, do scenes. Like for example, the lady in the film, she doesn't even know how to drive. Yeah, I think a lot of people are surprised on that. And I think the other one I want to touch on is events and festival IP. I think over the years, Singapore has created many IPs. Some of them are ours, some of them are not, but these are the projects that we have done. For example, the Fashion Festival and also this year's World Christmas Market that will be running in Marina Bay and also the Louis Vuitton Fashion Show. Again, these are small little footprints that as a small company and an SME, from a Singapore creative standpoint, it's a collaborative effort. All these projects are not done by a single company. It is a consortium of different companies that do good storytelling and good using media tech. And I would say that this is really exciting. Then when you go towards like, film, TV, and OTT. Like most of the time when we go back home, like myself or some of my friends, the kids, and whichever not, it's either you consume short form content, micro dramas, or long form drama content through your OTT platforms like Netflix and whatnot. And examples are like drama series that we are involved in where we use virtual production and media tech. Like you could see that these environments here, it don't exist. It is all shot in a studio using game engine. This could not have been done, in the past. And of course, game shows like this, it could not have been done to create that whole sustainable world. And without all this track record, different countries and government agencies will not partner with, Singapore as a film destination. So this was the film that we shot called Whisper of Fatima that will be released next year in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. And this was announced back then in Cannes last year in France. And we intend to build more IPs that will surround the use of media tech with Singapore as the key main driver. I think the government has been a very good partner and support, as you can see that they are our witness in during the signing ceremony. And next is, of course, a very important part of the ecosystem for the media industry, which is AIGC or generative AI IPs. So these are things that you guys have probably have seen, right? Projection, AR experience, whatever not. Now, to create this into products and IPs and inject Singapore content into it, you need a platform. You need solutions that can bring across. So one of the ways, a lot of brands are doing today is going through the use of, holographic box combined with AI. The other areas that where they look into is to use micro drama platforms. So the micro drama platforms are really key right now. And how we intend to push this across is to use Gen AI as well as virtual production across the regional content network to push across to the world. Gen AI also cross through education platforms. I think this is really important. It's crucial. It has been already seen across the region, and we have all been consumers of this generative AI. I think AI content culture is key through the use of short form drama education platform and many others. And I think instead of like being afraid of the AI world, I think it's more of embracing it. A filmmaker told me that a very prominent director filmmaker, which most of you probably will have heard of, told me that I think humans will not be replaced by AI. Humans will be replaced by people, other humans who uses AI. And I think this is very true. Media tech is definitely an area there is a lack of training and education. Since then, again, we have done a lot of master classes with the government and different schools, polytechnics, universities, and so on. And last year, we signed an agreement with Curtin University to push across a new degree program. We just launched this last month, and it's called the Digital Creative Industries. And we intend to do this as an ecosystem play to leverage on media IP and and culture. So yeah, that's really it as just a sharing on the current future media trends and how storytelling is. So anything you could just, oh, sorry about the typo ever. You can reach me at email nick@oceanusmedia.global. Apology on the K, it's an L. So thank you very much.